3, 2, 1, go live. Right now. All right, there we go. We are live. Welcome to another great episode of Talking Tines here on Outdoors Obsessions. You are watching the best damn web show. Today we have Chace Stalker with Out on a Limb Manufacturing. We're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about different whitetail strategies and Out on a Limb Manufacturing and how OAL has made his bow hunting and how it can make your bow hunting a much better experience day by day. So Chace, why don't you go ahead and give us a brief moment and kind of just introduce to us who you are.
Okay, I'm Chace Stalker. I'm 24 years old. I worked at Out on a Limb since I was 19. Live here in Northwest Oklahoma. Basically, just love to hunt like everyone else on here too. So that's why I'm sitting here, I guess. So
Perfect. You said you've been working there since you were 19. How old are you now?
24.
Definitely made yourself up the ladder in those years. Congrats to you, man, because Matt Garris and Out on a Limb Manufacturing is definitely one hell of a deal to be part of.
It's exciting. It's exciting stuff. Pretty lucky. Pretty fortunate.
I actually have watched Out on a Limb Manufacturing and Matthew Garris grow ever since he really kind of hit the market. One of his demo stands I actually got to shoot out of at a 3D tournament.
Okay.
And that was like one of the OGs, man, and it was freaking awesome. We sat there and we messed with it, we tweaked with it. It had like that big old giant wheel on it that you could choose different twisted trees and whatnot. It was amazing, and ever since then I've just been absolutely interested in what OAL has actually done. But let's go ahead and start firing away with some whitetail questions.
Okay.
So you got a beautiful buck that's sitting right behind you. I can't help but notice the little kicker on the back tine there, and I'm a fan of junk on the rack. Yeah. And why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got that deer?
Okay, that's actually that's a funny story deer right there. So I think it was November 14th. It was an evening hunt. Probably got in there around 2:45, 2:30ish, and real calm kind of day, looking to find something that's still looking, and
sure.
He came up over a ridge and I gave him a growl and he came in on a string basically, and I had shot him and made a good shot. I've seen on these guys on TV, they'll shoot and these deer they'll make a grunt or they'll make a big noise, and I've never seen that. And I shot this buck and that's what he did. He made like a big, growl and, perfect what I thought was a good shot. And I got down to go get him about 45 minutes later, and I had bumped him. Oh. And I did not find that buck until January 5th.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so he's actually just a recovered buck he's the second, because in Oklahoma you have 2 buck tags. He's my second buck of last year. And so, yeah, he's my recovered deer.
At least you were able to, make closure on that story. I'm a big-time firm believer on if you haven't lost a deer, you just haven't hunted long enough. Yep. Every day, the most appropriate and responsible bow hunter will make sure that when the day comes that he's in the stand, he can go ahead and go to full draw on any deer, whether it be that 259-inch buck or whether it be that fawn with spots. Man, you got to make that great shot. You got to make it count. Yep. And anybody who's not been hunting long enough that says I've never lost a deer, it's coming. And it's just you kind of got the better half of that. At least you got your deer. It wasn't whenever you wanted. Unfortunately, all the goods that come with that deer were lost. But at least you were able to have closure. You finally found them. I know how much that feels. But unfortunately, I lost mine completely. Just we never did find them. But let's see here. Brandon Chace says, "What do you guys think of palmated antlers?"
Oh man, love them.
I am a sucker for a palm, dude. Anything that's got that webbing of any sorts. Yeah, it's all day.
I had one last on camera that I was really excited to get in front of, and the neighbor ended up killing it. I mean, just a stud palmated deer stud.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What's the biggest buck you have killed? I mean, are you much for measuring your deer at all?
I am not really into that kind of game. I'm a big age guy. That's what I like. I mean,
yep.
I want to kill I want to kill the oldest deer I got on camera every year. That's what I want to do. You know what I mean? It depends if it's a 135-inch 8-point or if it's a 55-inch, 10 point.
There
So
you go.
be it. Like the deer, like my oldest deer I killed last year was like we think he's 6.5, and so
Wow.
he was just shy of 130, and that I have never been more jacked up ever
Right.
killed in my entire life. You know
Dude,
what I
I mean,
mean?
that's amazing. That is amazing. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments here real quick. Bobby says, need to get some pheasant hunting on the show, buddy. Dude, that's coming. And it's coming in hot. I cannot wait for that. Brandon says, how's it going, Logan and Heath? And Mr. Beach, my boy from Kentucky, part of the crew. Love having that guy on here. Hanging in there, fletching up dozen arrows. What's up, Corey? All right, they're talking. So, dude, I mean, I would have to, say that is a solid goal because, a lot of people, they measure everything by this. And I'm not going to lie, I do that. But going after the oldest deer, that's definitely one that I haven't heard of. And to be honest, it makes total sense. And to trick out the oldest deer on your farm or in your area that you're at, that takes skill, man, because everybody knows you got two chances, or at least this is my theory. You got two chances on a mature buck. One, before rut. And if you mess up, two, you got him during rut. Because there is one day where he's going to be sniffing tail and he doesn't care where he's at because he's going to go get it. And that doe could bring it by. You only get one chance on a mature doe, though, in my opinion, unless you really change things up and get it. That mature doe, she knows.
You kill a mature buck.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. You've been in the. I'm gonna crack open a beer here, Chase.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Cheers, buddy. All
Cheers.
right. I think he needs some wow in his life. Damn straight, man. So, that's Corey from Wild Oak Whitetails.
Okay.
A great company from around here, and a really good friend of mine makes 100% fresh pea, or he harvests 100%.
Uh-huh.
It's really great, and we've actually got a show with him coming on, so make sure you guys step into that. Chase, without on a limb manufacturing, they make a lot of awesome saddle hunting style, like sticks, the stands, or the platforms and stuff. Do you get into that? Do you get into saddle hunting yet?
I just started last year. Last year was my first year. I live in Oklahoma, hunting private. I've been a tree stand hunter. That stand you were talking about that you tested, you
Sure.
shot. That's what I hunt out of. I've got
Nice.
5 of those in the trees, and that's what I love. I've got some other properties I've had access to, down south that I can go down and just go walk in and hang a saddle in, which I did last year. And
Right.
so I got into it. I probably hunted out 10 times last year.
Nice. Did you manage that? Did you say that you actually managed to put a kill shot on a deer out of your saddle?
No, I did not.
No. I myself am still have still yet to draw blood in the saddle, but dude, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the saddle compared to a stand. And I'm a guy who can take a nap in any stand. I truly can. It's a fault of my own. But when that 8:30 number hits, you're like, you've been up since like 3 just to drive an hour to your property or to your public land. You got an hour walk, and nothing's coming around. The squirrels are doing their thing. You're just like, but I tell you what, that was one of the things that I kind of got worried about. Like, what if I fall asleep in this thing and then just end up rocking back? Well, there's a lot of pictures of whenever I got my saddle of me just hanging upside down completely. So I am not worried one bit, and I'm actually looking forward to my first hunt and my first successful hunt in the saddle, and I'm looking forward to my first nap in the saddle, no doubt. Absolutely, 100% do it.
Hey, you can get comfortable enough in some of those saddles that you can fall asleep.
That's what I'm saying. What kind of saddle do you rock?
I am using a trophy line right now.
Okay, very good saddle. So we use the Outdoor Adventure Outfitters by Dennis Bland. Very comfortable.
Okay. I think I've heard of that one before.
Yeah, real good. What is your preferred? Hold on one second. My little girl's coming. What's up, baby? Hold on. I'm live. What's up? Hi. I'm so sorry, guys. Come here. Love you. Will you please close the door? Gotta be. My little girl comes in and say hi. Hey, close the door, please. Sorry about that, all guys. What is your favorite platform to use that you have used today? I'm sure you've used quite a few.
I prefer the Ridge Runner. However, we just released the Ridge Runner XL on Friday.
Seen that. Amazing.
And me being the tree stand hunter I like to be able to stand up on my platform, and so I really think I'm going to be using that XL this year. I really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I seen that yesterday and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I like the XL platform, and I'm definitely I'm either going to be trying that one out. I got a couple others that I got in mind that I'd really like to try out, but that thing is nice. So that comes in at what, 3.4 pounds?
No, it's right around 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the other one that I was looking at that was 3.4. I was looking at quite a few of them yesterday on the website. Let's see here. Brandon says, I'll be recording your ass sleeping. Dang straight. Chris Leak says, rub a little dough estrus under your nose. You won't nod off all day. Hard pass. Hard pass. I will be just as mad if a 200-incher walks on by and I'm sitting there cutting Z's, but hard pass on that, my man. Chase, are you a public land guy, a private land guy, or both?
I'm private. I'm private. Yeah. We've got family farms that I've hunted forever, so I'm partial to them. But as soon as I start venturing out of state, yeah, I will be public, which I'm hoping to. So
don't get me wrong. I mean, chasing a deer on private land can be and proven to be just as hard to take one on public. You still have other people that hunt with you that are they're going in there. They might be doing something differently, and you still have a wild animal that you're chasing.
Yep.
We do both. I do both. I'm going to be doing a lot of private this year. I just gained new permission on some 40 acres. Can't wait to get in there. Yeah. What is your best strategy from, let's just say from the house to the parking lot? Do you like to get dressed while you're there? Do you just get dressed up and start going out?
I like to get dressed up while I'm there, and I'm a big scent crusher guy.
Mm-hmm.
I crush all the way to the location. I keep my stuff in the back of the pickup. I get out of my pickup. I get dressed outside, and then I'm walking. I'm gone.
There you go.
I like to just normal thing as possible, So
I would have to. That makes the world of a difference. I used to literally just take my bow, put it in the front seat of the truck, put my camo on. I got my release on while I'm driving. A 35-minute drive didn't matter, and I'm literally out the door, grab up the bow, shut the truck door, and I'm in the stand before the truck's even cooled off from driving all the way.
Yeah.
Now, I would say I get dressed over at the parking lot every time. I've got my base layers on, and I get dressed in it's made a world of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely agree that is probably my number one. Dress normal in the truck, get there, and then set out, get dressed in the parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it's the first step to the most key. The most key thing is entry and exit, and so your entry's got to be just as clean. And some guys like to get sloppy on the way out on your exit. I mean, your exit's got to be just as clean as your entry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're chasing mature whitetail, I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to
absolutely. What are some? Let's see here. We got Logan says cover age and deer on the hoof via trail camera and sightings. Absolutely would agree with that. Do you like to? And then Dennis says I'm going to be using the Solo Scout paired with the Wild Edge steps and of course my Outdoor Adventure Outfitter saddle.
Heck yeah, Dennis.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So with Logan's comment, having a show, we like to get a lot of film and a lot of stuff to put out there as much as possible. Whether it be the B-roll, the filler stuff, the in-between stuff. And there's one thing that I see that I really like a lot of that I'm just personally afraid of doing, but you see all the big bucks in the bean field and they're sitting there recording. Is this anything that you do? Do you go out and try to record some big deer? Do you try to just do observation sits before season? Or are you one of those kind of guys that you like to go out, every 3 weeks, check your trail cameras, and then once you get about a month away, you just stop going out?
I am every weekend. I'm checking trail cameras at noon. I go in midday, rubber boots and everything.
Sure.
Ask for recording and summer scouting. I love the summer scout. I don't do much recording. I have a spotting scope that I do, most of my scouting with, and I'll set from afar, and just try to get a feel of who's doing what, when, and kind of seeing who's hanging out with who. And
yep.
So
that's a very good idea. I thought about trying to do that out on some public land this year, but I'm still kind of nervous about it because it's public land, but I don't want to blow my spot out. So most definitely, yeah, get the spine scope. That's a very good tool. What kind of bow do you use and why?
I'm using Obsession. I have used an Obsession since 2018. Um, I had the Evolution, which was like their flagship, or not 2018, 2015, or the 2014.
Beautiful bow.
I had their Evolution, their flagship bow first, and I fell in love with it. We're dealers. We have a little archery shop too, so we deal
Yep.
Obsession bows, and so that's why I've kept with them. I mean, I love them. They shoot great.
I actually shoot the Obsession DEFCON M6.
Okay,
Absolutely love
good.
that bow.
Yeah.
I sold off my Matthews HTR to get that one, and I kind of wish I would have kept my HTR just because that was the first bow I killed from first deer with, and
Uh-huh.
it was just a smooth shooter. But I am absolutely on board with the Obsession.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what are your feelings about Martin buying Obsession recently? What do you think is going to come out of that?
I think it'll be a good deal. From what I know, I think Obsession got all of their old office people back, and it's kind of all the same people again, and they were great people.
They were.
We went down, visited them one time, and they are all very, very great people. So I think it'll be a good deal for a lot of
Absolutely.
people.
Hopefully, yeah. Um, your deal with chasing the oldest whitetail on your property that you could possibly get into. Obviously, there's probably been a year or two or a couple more multiple that you have not been able to seal a tag on a deer. Um, there's never going to be that guy that gets to go out there every year and he kills a slammer every year, booner, no matter what. So what is your probably like your number one thing to do that you feel like if you don't do it, your chances are gone?
Wind.
When you're
You
going
know,
out to like just say okay, you're going out to hunt. Wind?
yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Wind. That wind. Yeah.
Oh, not win. My
Wind.
bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
um, when you say play in the wind, because there's a lot of people out there that will say I play the wind, but I don't use scent control. There's also people that say, well, I do pay attention to the wind, but I do use scent control.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with you being wind, and you just stated earlier that you use scent control, would you say that you've ever gone out with one less in mind and just absolutely been able to pull it off, or do you just not go in the woods without them?
I've never for me, and I may take it way too seriously, but for me, hunting a big buck is like walking on eggshells.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to mess up. If you mess up, it could be over. So I mean, I'm sure to cover all the bases. I don't like to. I'm not lazy when it comes to hunting for big whitetail. I mean, I cover all the bases. I feel like you have to. I mean, you really have to. Because at one time, that's when he's going to get you. That's when it's going to happen. I don't want to take that chance. You know what I'm saying?
You had stated that you got to be just as good on your entry as you do on your exit. Let's say that you have a property and you have one access point. Well, we'll make that example later. But what do you do? Do you use the same trail that you come in on, or are you very much so for the I got to go a different way out?
It depends on. It depends on the situation. I have different stands. I have stands that are one way in, one way out. I can walk a dirt road 300 yards to the west, and then hop my fence and walk just down the trail however long, and that's really easy, real simple, just all dirt,
Sure.
No scent, not touching anything. And then other stands, like if there's a deer still on you, obviously, you're gonna wait, and if they've gotten further away from you at a point, then that would, for say I go a different direction, and that's in that situation. So
have you ever been?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, usually my entry and exits are pretty well the same thing. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, very rarely do I have to do something different, and that's
What have you ever been stuck in the stand due to having a nice deer that you would like to go after, but due to shooting light, you just can't take off the shot right now? Have you ever been stuck in the stand, and if so, how long?
Yeah, 3 years ago, I was hunting an 8. I'm a big 8 guy, and I had him underneath me. He was probably at 25 yards, 30 yards, and he was there for probably 30, 40 minutes. And I knew it was him. It was last light he came in, and I could tell it was him. And so I just had to sit there and be quiet and wait until he left. And then once I could hear him, clear, and then there was nothing else, I snuck out of there the other way. That was in that situation. I exited a different way.
Sure.
Than I would. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, with that one, you're kind of left no choice but to, well, hey, I got to get out of here a different route, otherwise I'm going to bump that guy out of here. Um,
Yeah,
I actually
you
had
don't want
something of the similar same. When I'm out bow hunting, I shoot the text to the wife, hey, I'm down, walking to the truck, or hey, I'm down in the truck on my way home, just for a safety thing because she does get worried because a lot of places I go, there's no cell service. But
Yeah.
I was after my number one deer, who actually he was an 8 as well, just like you stated. But he kind of grew out like a mule deer, which was really great, and it was awesome for here in Iowa.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting in the stand, and it's like 3 weeks after rut, and there was some post rut activity going on around that I was catching on the camera. So I was like, you know what? Let's just try this. So I set up a scrape that day, and I had set it up on the tree, and it was a 5 acre parcel with 2 acres of woods. So you could see corner to corner all the way around. And there's a little piece that was off to the left that hooked into mine that I didn't have access on. And he was bedding over there. So therefore he was coming in front of my stand this way. Well, I didn't plan on
Uh-huh.
coming from the back because I had him patterned and he just changed on that day. So I had set up a scrape for him to stop on 25 yards away to go ahead and pull the trigger. Unfortunately, it came from behind me, and this tree
Uh-huh.
it's at least 48 inches wide. So his entire body is behind this tree, and I had to watch him 10 minutes tear that scrape up. Scrape worked great.
Uh-huh.
It didn't work in my behalf to stop him where I needed him to stop so I could just take off that clean, nice shot. And I seen his outline. He came right underneath my stand. I could have just cut the harness strap and jumped right on him.
Yeah.
I nicknamed him Fingers. I had a chance. He then went up behind me onto the bean field. It was like 10, 15 minutes later. I was like, all right, he's got to be gone now. I can't hear him walk anymore. I bust up the flashlight, look up his way, and sure enough, he's still 15 yards away from me. Here's where it gets wicked, man. He
Uh-huh.
blew at me. He did that. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, screw
Yeah.
it. What do I got to lose now? I'm going to play with this guy. So I blew back at him. And he kind of tilted his head and grunted at me and charged my tree. And I
What?
was like, oh, okay, so now this deer wants to hurt me. Which, by all means, I
Bye.
just blew at the guy. So
Yeah.
I turned off the light, texted the wife, going to be a couple more minutes, probably about another hour. And this is a farm that I've only got one access in and one access out.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going straight. It's all going straight north. And whether or not I'm off on the far right or far left doesn't matter. I got one way out. And he's walking that way. So I waited a whole hour before I got down and finally got out of there. But I've never been so scared. Every 10 minutes, I'm looking behind me with a little flashlight, like, oh, buddy.
What
But
was the date? What was the date you said?
what was the what?
The date? The
That would have been about 3 weeks after rut here. So
Really?
right towards the end of November.
Hmm.
Right towards the end of November. But I mean, I just figured, well, I've never blown back at a deer before. Here's my chance, so whatever. But no, he got mad and charged my tree and was underneath my stand for like another 15 minutes. It was wicked,
Yeah.
absolutely
There
wicked.
you go. They
And
say it's like calling their mama fat.
it
So
is, it is.
yeah.
And I found out that day, and since then I've never blown out a deer ever again.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good. You can sit there and blow all day if you want.
Yeah.
Um, let's see here. Brandon says obsession. Logan says hunted with a fixation 7XP for years. Great bow. Wild Oak
Mm-hmm.
says if you're not paranoid about wind, you're not thinking like a big buck, and that's 100% fact. Heath says keep losing, you guys. I'm wrestling with heifers on a rope. So I know Heath. Better clarify that up a little bit, Heath. That's my dog. That was my dog. Gross. Uh, he's getting old. He's got a couple cows that keep jumping his fence there. Chase, with all the deer that you have successfully put down, how many of them would you say that are older than 3?
Uh, with the bow, probably all of them. Yeah,
There you
all
go.
of them.
Good deal.
Yeah. I think my youngest is probably a 4.5 year old deer. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I've been really, really consistent with my 5-year-old age. It seems like I've killed 3 of them the last 2 years. They were 5. So
What do you do on your property that helps maintain that deer herd to keep those bucks on your property and to keep that age class at your in your area at all times? What do you do?
uh, I hate to go back to the entry and exit deal, but that's just what it is. It's just, not pressuring the deer so much, staying in there, going in there at times that I know they're not going to be in there, like midday. I'm 12 to 2 o'clock. That's when I check my cameras. I won't do it earlier. I won't do it later. It's just, and then when you're trying to kill the biggest, or not the biggest, the oldest deer you have on camera, that is kind of, deer get to walk. They get another year, and so kind of that age structure kind of hangs around.
Do you do you like to do the food plot thing? Do you go in there and maintain your trails and all that jazz?
Food plots, yeah, and then mainly trails. I hunt a lot of transition areas. One of my main pieces is just a big transition area,
Sure.
so I just get on a good trail or get on a good doe area, bedding area they're usually hanging around, and then just kind of get in between that and where they're coming from.
Sure. How much property do you hunt?
Right now I'm hunting on about 2/4, 2/4 and 80 sometimes. Just depends on what's going on.
There you go.
So
not a bad deal. How long have you been bow hunting?
Since I was probably a junior in high school. Well, when I got my license. As soon as I got my license, I started bow hunting. I was rifle hunter, like every kid do, and then once I could drive, I was a bow hunter.
Sure.
So 16.
That's your game plan that you've been telling us, that's an extremely good game plan. I've talked to a lot of other people, and it always seems like that game plan is pretty much in everybody's arsenal, and they pull it out. Obviously, it works. You've got a great deer behind you, and you've got great deer on your wall, and you've got other great deer that you've put down. The thing that really intrigues me is you've got consistent 4 and 5-year-olds. So keeping that on the board is extremely hard, let alone just to get an actual nice buck every year to set your target. What intrigues me about your trail camera thing is I like to go out about every 3 weeks because I try to keep the pressure off my property as low as possible, and I'm the only one hunting it. So are you the only one hunting it? And with you checking them every weekend at noon, obviously you're not pressuring them because you're going in there in the middle of the day. But you're doing it in such a way where you can check them every weekend where you don't have to be worried. So what do you think you're doing in that aspect where you're able to slip in there and still get a 5-year-old during the season?
When in the summertime when I'm checking cameras pretty every week, I'm also in there with cattle. These properties with cattle all the way through the middle of September every year, so the deer are used to it. The farmers are pulling in there. I think that's a pretty key element to me being able to get in there and not pressure deer as much because they're so used to those pickups pulling in there, and the cattle and all the noise. And so
Sure.
I think that's pretty good. That's probably what helps me out a bunch. And then I'm also driving in all the way. Basically, I don't do a whole lot of walking. There's not a whole lot of feet on the ground, leaving scent. I try to eliminate that as much as possible.
Yep.
So
I would the side by side man is the way to go. If you or ATV, if you can do it, do it. Logan says, "What's your broadhead of choice?"
I'm not gonna hate on any company. I was a Rage guy forever. Sure. Rage Hypodermic. I made that shot on that deer last year, and I lost. I lost him for a little bit and found him, and it kind of put a little bad, taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. And so this year I'm going to try the Annihilators. I picked them up at the Iowa Deer Show back in March, and so I'm gonna try a fixed and go with the Annihilator this year. So
that's a beautiful design, and I was actually pretty interested in it when Logan uses the Schwackers. I myself use the NAP Spitfires, and ever since I used the NAP Killzone, and I went over to the NAP Spitfire, man, it was just absolutely deadly. My biggest thing is O-rings and collars. I absolutely, it's something that can fail, and so that to me, they obviously work because otherwise people wouldn't use them. They worked on Rage, they work on the Schwackers, they work on pretty much anybody else that there's some Montec or G5s that use them and whatnot, just to name a few of the O-ring and collar stuff. But my personal opinion is I can't get past the O-ring and the collar thing. So like the Rage no collar, that's definitely a decent head. Because I would be okay with using something like that. The Annihilator, that is a solid piece of chunk, man, coming at them, and it's deadly and it's devastating. And I was actually I almost bought one. I almost bought a set. I almost did, and I was like, no, just wait, see what happens, see what happens. Brandon says I had a triple drop tine buck on camera all summer last year. Never once seen him during season. Got him on camera again this year. What the hell do I have to do to get this deer to show up during season? Joe has seen pics of this buck. And by all means, this triple drop tine it's unique, it's amazing, it's old, and it's a beast.
Uh,
So how would you answer that question for them, man?
well, if he's leaving, let's see here. Remember, all summer last year, never once. So he's leaving once the velvet sheds. It looks like. So that means it depends on what he's hunting. I mean, if he's hunting, if he's got access to a bedding area, that's where I would be, because he knows the area. He's using that area. He knows it. He's
Right.
gonna come back. If there's does there, he knows that he's gonna come back in the season to check. If he can get on in between where you think he's coming from in the bedding area or wherever, and if it's hard, if you're not seeing him a bunch during season, you kind of just got to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
With split brows on both sides too. Wild Oak says Ramcat original all dayer. Got my fourth deer with the same broadhead last year. Still sharp and ready for the fifth. With Brandon's comment, something that I was thinking about Brandon on that is like what he said, definitely checking the bedding area, but maybe trying to set up a camera a little bit closer to the direction that he looks like he's coming from to see if maybe you can get another area of where he's starting to veer off to. Because I'm a big time. I mean, obviously, deer have their little zones that they like to be in every day of the season. As days change and as the season changes, they like to be in different places of the land. So trails change, it all changes. So, that's a very good question, and I truly hope that Brandon gets a chance at this beautiful deer, because I have seen pictures of it, and it is a stud, and it's a once in a lifetime kind of deer. Triple drops.
And don't think, I mean, don't think he's not there. Still, like you can't rely 100% on that trail camera. You know what I mean? Because like you said, he could be going a different route. I mean, he could be there, and you just not know it.
Right. I think he's been hunting this deer for a couple years, if I'm right, Brandon. Comment down below. Wild Oak says your property is probably his summer home. A lot of times, big boys will move homes during change of season. It's very possible, and the unfortunates too, because you can be teased all year long with this brute, and then come season, gone, and he's 2 miles down the road, never to be seen again until the following season, because they know where they're safe.
Yep.
And
I've had those deer do that and leave right there when they shed velvet, and then they're back December 15th. They're there that last part of December, early January. They're kind of come back to the other pattern.
When does your season end out there in Oklahoma?
January 15th.
Okay. See, ours here in Iowa ends on January 10th.
Okay.
This is my second season hunting this property. Is that your public property, Brandon, or is that your private property? While we wait for him to type that up, what would you say is appropriate time to be hitting the bedding area when you're in search of that buck? Are you I'm only going to the bedding area when it's rut, or are you going to be in there, let's say, October 1?
No. October, me, I am strictly, just trails, transition areas. I don't even get in the stand in the morning until like January 20th, 25th, there, maybe.
Really?
Before Halloween. Yeah, I don't like hunting mornings early. So, sorry, what was the question?
When would you find it to be an appropriate time to actually hit that bedding area?
Yeah, so I've always felt, that pre-rut right there phase. So November 5th, November 7th, to me, that's always been pretty hot. And so right there, right there is when I'm going to be in the morning and be there all day long. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait him out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you set up trail cameras in your bedding areas or in the transition to the bedding areas, or you stay strictly out of that?
I try not to get close to the bedding areas. Transition areas is all I do. Camera-wise, I don't even – there's parts of my property that I don't even touch until I'm going in to hunt.
Right.
So there's – good half of it, I run cameras on. I hunt pretty decent, The other half, it's November 5th. I'm in there. There's no cameras. There's nothing. I don't know what's even going to be there. You know what I mean? That's what happened right here. This deer, I never even had this deer on camera. I
Oh,
just went
really?
hunting in, and he popped up, and I shot him. And so,
Is he a shoulder mount, or are you able to pick him up and show the camera? I
yeah,
mean, because that's a hell of a kicker that's on there.
he's a
I mean, that is a beautiful deer. It's got kickers. Oh man, just beautiful.
yeah, he was a cool deer.
And that's the one that you recovered later in the year.
Right? Yep. Yeah. January 5th, I believe.
Nice. Well, congrats on that, man, because that is just an absolute stud. Um, I've. Did you do the Euro mount yourself, or did you have someone else do it for you?
No, I had someone else. I used to do those dang things, but I can't stand the smell anymore, so I had a buddy do it.
And I was kind of the same way. And how I've done it to eliminate all that is I've actually taken my deer and now I'll bury them behind the shed. And I'll bury them up to the antlers, put a tote over it, put a few bricks on it, keep my dog out of it, keep the
Yeah.
other pesky animals all around from it. And what's really cool is they come up with kind of this brown sheen if you do it correctly. I'm sure it's got something to do with soils and everything like that, but it's a really cool deal. There's no guts. There's no mess. You just pull it out of the dirt, brush off the dirt, wash it off, and done. Hang that bastard. I mean, it's nice. And I've got a 13 point in the dirt soaking up right now. And actually, next month, here in about middle of August, I'm going to actually pull them out and do a video on that. And it's pretty cool. I got my other one sitting up on the wall now. And actually, I was trying to show my dog how to find sheds.
Yeah.
Doing really good. And I closed the door one day and my skull mount fell off the ground or fell off the wall. And I said, all right, that's it. I'm done. One and done. I don't want it to break. So I looked at the wife. I'm going up to Menards. I'm going to grab one of those command hooks real quick. I left the deer on the floor. This is my fault. And I left the door open. I was gone for 20 minutes and I come back and the skull was eaten from down all the way, normal, all the way up to about here. And
Really?
this is my first buck ever, man. And I'm like, I'm looking at my dog, I'm looking at my first buck, and I'm like, who's going to stay? Because it was my fault that I left it on the floor and I left the door open. I couldn't be mad at him because he looked at me. He's like, dude, hey, man, found it. And but yeah, I'll show you real quick. So this big bad boy, 200 incher. So you can see where he ate from.
Yeah.
This was my first buck ever, man, and I rattled this thing in. And actually, the neighbor actually got a picture of him by my car eating pears off his pear tree where I was parked.
Huh.
And so I rattled him in, and I shot him at 7 yards. I didn't make exactly the greatest shot. Kind of went in through the guts and out the lung. And it took over a few hours to find him. And a couple buddies of mine came down and helped me find him. I was venturing down, and we actually seen him walking back towards the stand. And I actually jumped up on the trail in front of him, went to draw back, and he was already on the ground. I literally watched him take his last breath after like 4 hours of looking.
Huh.
So that deer is super special to me. First buck, and my dog
Yeah.
literally ate the skull. But at least he didn't eat the antlers. He ate the skull. Yeah. So dog can stay. Brandon says he's hunting private on that buck. So there's definitely a lower amount of pressure being there, since there's not a lot of people checking it in for the public lands or out there scouting and doing all their jazz. So I would definitely start trying to get a little bit closer to where he's disappearing off to, Brandon, and figure out what's going on. Or what Chace said is 100% fact. Getting into that bedding area about that rut time is probably going to be a good idea for you whenever you can go in there and take them out. That's probably where I would honestly do an all-day hunt. I'm just going to hang in there as long as I can. If I have to, I'll move a tree, but hang in there as long as possible. Corey says, in addition to being paranoid about the wind, is he a scent guy or a no scent guy? I won't be offended if he's not. What he means by that is, do you like to use deer scent?
I don't. I'm not a scent guy. I'm not.
Man.
It works for some guys and have a lot of success with it. I like to keep it simple. I really do.
Keep a simple, stupid kiss. Not offended by that at all. I use scent every time I go out, and I have extremely good luck with it. But like you said, some people don't, some people do. Dennis says, do you run any soakers? And Heath says, we all know Joe Likes them chained up in the front yard. Dang straight. If I don't gotta go far, I won't even put on the camo and man, done. But
Yeah.
do you run any soakers? Dennis, what do you mean by do you know what you mean by soakers?
I don't. I was gonna ask you that. I don't know what a soaker is.
Dennis, if you're still watching, buddy, what are you talking about as far as soakers? Or we're waiting for him to comment. Everyone's got this thing about I've got to be 30 feet up. I've got to be 25 feet up. What do you like to be?
I'm right there, usually about 17 or 20. I'm doing 15. I don't think it really matters. I think some situations, 10, 15 feet will get you done pretty easily.
Yep.
But I'm usually 17, 20 feet. It's about my sweet spot.
Oh, okay. I'm the exact same, and everyone gives me crap about it because there's been a few stands that I've hunted out of only like 12 feet off the ground, but I got the job done.
Yeah.
He says, I'll set him some swamp balls. Dang straight. So swamp balls is something that we came out with at Wild Oak, and it's like a little water ball that holds the pea until it's fully dissolved, and it just releases it over time. Works really well. Dennis Bland says soakers, meaning cameras. So obviously trail cameras. So you said you're checking your cameras every weekend at noon.
Yep.
Let's hear. How many cameras do you run on your property?
Usually 4 per quarter. I don't like to get everywhere, and run so many cameras. I kind of keep it, like I said, I like to keep it simple. Everything I do, simple, straightforward, just get it done that way.
100%. Which, the keep it simple, stupid thing, that really works with us whenever we're using our saddles too, because we're going as minimal as possible. So, do you record your hunts, or do you just go in there with what you got to do?
I do, not all the time. Just kind of depends on what I've got going on. Being that that we build camera arms and camera equipment, I gotta I get out there and I use that stuff. I don't know if we have the Reach camera arm. It's that small pocket arm that we've had for a few years now, I think. So I use that one when I get kind of get that bug to film.
Sure.
I'm not really big into that part of it,
Sure.
If I have a buddy who's not with me, and he'll come get the camera with me, or whatever. So, just kind of depends on how I feel.
Sure. What would you say is your ultimate dream hunt?
Ultimate dream hunt. Any kind of animal? Anything?
Any kind.
I would love to go kill an elk in Colorado or Utah, somewhere through there. I would love to do that. I want to go get in the mountains and just have one screaming at me at 20 yards and put one behind its shoulder.
The old poke. There you go. That's amazing, man. Actually, here in a couple weeks, you'll probably be seeing a video because Brock and his family are up there in Colorado right now. They've been up there for about a week, and they're doing their honeymoon, and he's been filming. He's actually got up to pretty close up to a nice herd of elk and some muleys and all that jazz, and he's got a lot of cool content coming back home. Dennis says, put a camera up in an area closer to beds and let it set all through the season and not check it until late season or after season, ? Is that something that you'd be willing to do just to risk it, or is that too much of a risk for you?
Put a camera up in an area closer to beds, let it set all through the season and not check it until late season. If he's the deer that I'm going after for the year, I'm gonna probably I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive than that. I don't think I could let it sit, and just kind of wait till the end of the season because if he's a 5 and 6 year old deer, I'm gonna try to get him killed. Right. Put it. Cellular cameras are pretty handy.
Yes.
So that could be pretty good. As soon as they pop, he's hot and it's time to get in there. So that could be a really, really good tool in this in this circumstance. So closer to bed, but maybe I guess if you're trying to, it sounds like he's trying to minimize his foot traffic in there. So maybe put an antenna on that thing and see what happens.
Sure. Cellular cameras, Spy Point just brought up that little modem that you can plug into any camera and make it literally a cell cam. And you got one?
Yep.
Dude, they're amazing. I have yet to get one. I'm really considering it. I'm really considering it, and um, the only reason why I haven't fully gone out and done it yet is because at least some point in time I'm going to have to go out there and change the batteries, and it'd be my luck that my batteries die 2 days after I checked it at home, or I went out there and checked it and they died 2 days later because the camera misread, or I didn't have the batteries, or I forgot. Now I got to go back because now my camera's soaking for another 4 weeks or 3 weeks without me checking it, and I might miss a deer that comes through once every month, and I might have missed it. And so my paranoia kicks in and says don't do that, but I really, really want to do that. Cell cams, absolutely 100%. Dennis says a soakers is more of to get a pattern on a mature deer. This helps with the following season. I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Um, let's see here. Do you how many deer are you? You said you're after the oldest deer that you can get, but how many deer do you have that you're actually after this year?
I've got one that I know of from last year that kind of was pretty familiar with. So haven't got him on camera yet this year, which has kind of got me in a weird little right now. But I'm not really worried. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right. What do you um are you one of those guys like this deer? You know about this deer, but you don't have him on camera. Are you gonna hold out as long as you can before you fill that tag, or if you see another 5, 6 year old walk in, are you just gonna let him have it?
Oh yeah, if I have another 5 or 6 year old walking in front of me while I'm hunting different. Well, see the thing about me, the thing about where my situation is, I'm in Oklahoma, so I've got 2 tags.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But so it's kind of I can't really give you a good answer on that. I mean,
Sure.
if I got 1 tag left, and I had to use it on a wounded deer or something.
Sure.
Another 5, 6 year old came in. It depends. Depends. It really
Right.
does. I get kind of attached to my deer. I really do. I like to watch them grow, and I like to. I name my deer too, and so it's kind of like. And when I get in there October 1st or the 2nd or whenever I get in the first time, whatever deer I have on my mind, I'm 100% go after him. That's all I can think every night. How do I get this buck killed?
Right. That's pretty cool, man, that you have 2 buck tags. Here we have 2 buck tags, but you got to play the game right in order to get them both done here in Iowa. Dennis says, I run soakers closer to beds, and those that I will check more frequently will be areas where they are okay with me, with smelling my scent trail. And Heath says, gotta love that second archery tag. Yeah, he's in Illinois, so he gets 2 buck tags right off the bat. He can get them both on opening day and go film on opening day. Where
How do you
do you?
How do you feel about that 2 tag?
How do I feel about what tag?
The 2 tag states.
I'm 100% for it. I really am. Here in Iowa, how we got to do it is if we have our archery tag, which is statewide, you can have a shotgun tag that's statewide, you can have a muzzleloader tag that's statewide. But in order to get 2 archery bucks, the only way that you can really honestly do it is you fill your tag with your bow during bow season, and then when late muzzleloader season comes around, you get another statewide tag and you fill it with your bow as well if you want, because it's a legal method of take.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I have made it to the point to where I was able to actually buy that late muzzleloader tag. When I shot my 13 point, my first Pope and Young a couple years ago, I actually did buy a late muzzleloader tag, and I did go in search of trying to find another mature buck or another buck period. And I didn't get the chance to fill that tag. I did eat that tag. And hold on here, my computer's all of a sudden moving. But I didn't get a chance to go and fill that. But it was just as fun of a hunt. Unfortunately, it's tag soup, but that's part of the game.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Let's see here. Or landowners bow tags. Yeah, absolutely, because they get them for cheap. What would you say? How many tags have you said? I just ate that tag. How many bowls of tag soup have you eaten?
Oh, plenty. Especially during the first years of bow hunting, it's just all trial and error and learning and getting blown at and walking in at the wrong time and checking the camera at the wrong time or moving at the wrong time or calling when you should. So I mean, yeah, a lot of those compounded mistakes equal to a lot of late night drives home, wondering what the heck am I doing? You know what I mean?
100%.
So yeah, it's happening. It's been a lot of trial and error.
I think it was about 3-4 years before I finally filled a tag.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I felt the same way. I really, yeah,
and then
absolutely.
once you get it, once you get your first taste of a successful hunt, man. I mean, things just start okay, boom, 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 and then they start just before you know it, you're like, holy smokes, I can bow hunt.
Yeah.
Um, he says, I think we can get up to 3 tags for Illinois for archery if you get landowners, but we can get gun, either sex, and still use bow or gun tag on private. So that's another thing. Like out there in Oklahoma, are you guys able to use your gun tag and fill it with a bow, or vice versa?
So you can only kill one. You can kill 2 bucks total. So one with a bow, and then one with a gun or muzzleloader.
Sure.
Or yeah, one with a gun or muzzleloader. So that's it's just one with a gun and then one with a muzzleloader. Or yeah, if you don't choose a rifle hunt, if you don't choose a muzzleloader hunt, you can kill that second one with the bow too.
Sure. Now, do you guys can you guys bait down there, or are you guys 100% no throwing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oklahoma legal. It's legal here. Yep.
Do you have you hunted over bait at all? Do you prefer to hunt over
Uh-huh.
bait, or
Yep.
do you prefer to hunt over bait?
I don't, but you almost have to because everyone does it.
Right.
Everyone does it. I can sit in a box blind and count 8 beavers from one of my stands. That aren't mine.
Sure.
So I don't like to, but if it could help me get it done, in a certain scenario, then I will. But
Oh,
not
100%.
typically. I don't, and I'll bait for cameras. Like right now, I have bait out.
Right.
Um, I'm pretty far off bait when hunting season comes. I'm not really on bait. I'm not
Sure.
around that area. So I use it, but I use it methodically, really, I guess I should
Sure.
say. Yeah.
So use it for your trail camera footage, and use it to get a
Yep.
basis of what you got going on that day, that month, that year. And then whenever it
Yep.
comes down to hunting season, you like to try to switch it up a little bit. And you could probably
Yep.
count that a little bit towards your success too, because you're okay. I was baiting over there, and they kind of got used to me over there, and then bam, before you know it, I'm over here. So that probably does go according to your success on that too. So absolutely, congrats, man. Because if it's legal, 100% go for it. Because let me tell you what, I would take a bucket of corn with me every time I could, if I could. It's just not legal here. We can bait, or we can't bait. I'm sorry. We can put food down in front of a camera 3 weeks up to season, and then it's got to be completely removed.
Okay.
But you can only do that on private. You cannot do that on public. If you do that on public, no go. So
Yeah.
because you have
I think you can't
hair
in
movement,
public in Oklahoma.
sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Brandon says, what kind of knives do you get in and skin your deer with? Have you ever heard or used Title knives? He says I want a set, and that's why he's curious.
I use Outdoor Edge. I have never used those before. Tito. No,
Title, I
never used
believe.
those.
He just showed me them to me today. He actually won them, and they're actually a really nice looking set. But I have to agree, I use the Outdoor Edge knives as well, and man, those things are crazy sharp. They're crazy reliable, and it's the comfortability of that knife, the handle
Yeah.
alone. A
Yeah.
lot of times you can get a great knife, but the handle sucks, or you can get a
Yeah.
great handle and the knife sucks.
Yep.
But the Outdoor Edge, man, they really came out. The one that I really like is the Switchblade one, where you have
Yeah.
2 different blades in the same handle and you're able to rip through it.
Yeah.
He says, especially when does are all over to help them grow in fawns. That question. Oh, I think he's talking about letting them grow and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, let's see here. That pretty much wraps it up for our show. If you have any questions, anyone else that's listening, please, by all means, pop them down here. Chase, it's been an absolute honor having you on the show, man.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
Do you have any questions for us or anything? Because we're definitely going to have you back on the show, man. I mean, that was an absolute honor, and I had a blast.
Hey, I'm excited. Let's do it. Let's do another one during the season or something.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I plan on coming back. There's quite a few people that we've actually talked to, which it's absolutely been freaking awesome to talk to all of them, get to know their deer hunting strategies and their whitetail tactics and what works for them. Um, I think halfway through season, if I get a chance, because we're all going to be hunting and whatnot, so it's going to be extremely hard. But halfway through season, I think I'm going to try to go ahead and round up a couple more people and say, hey, how's your tactic working now? What have you learned? Did you change anything? That kind of thing. So that's going to be pretty cool. Talking Tines 2.0.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to add, Chase, before we go ahead and cut it off with our fans here?
Just go follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Out on a Limb MFG. We're on there quite a bit, posting. Matt's always doing live videos of us building the products for you guys right there in front of you. So some of you might see your platform or your stick being put together right there in front of you and boxed out into your door. So it's pretty cool stuff. I think you guys will like it.
What's your guys' wait times right now on some sticks and platforms?
We are just about 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes solos go out, scout solos go out quicker, but ridge runners, podiums, they're right there in between 2 to 3 weeks.
Sure. There you go. Well, that's still actually, and I'm in the gun and bow world. I'm a manager over at a pro shop. We sell bows and we sell guns. So, to be honest, in my world, 2 to 3 weeks, that's pretty quick. That's moving along pretty quickly, especially for what you guys are. You're not a huge shop that's got 100 employees that are building these things every day. So I mean, that to me is honestly that's pretty quick. So congrats to you guys, man, because you guys make some great stuff. Truly do.
We appreciate it. We work hard at it and we enjoy it.
Absolutely. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get into some out on a limb manufacturing stuff of some sort. You guys have so many options now. Now I got to be like, man, what do I commit to? Which one do I want to get first? That kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Well,
What's that?
Well, you know a guy.
Oh, I know a guy. That's what I'm talking about. All right, to all of our friends and fans that have been watching this show, thank you for checking out this segment. Make sure you guys head on over to Out on a Limb Manufacturing, give them a like. Go ahead, follow Chace Stalker on Instagram at Chace Stalker. Make sure you guys check in throughout the week because we're going to be doing more of these. And we got a lot more great things coming up. Thank you for watching the Best Damn Web Show. You guys have a great day. And we'll see you soon.